So the bowl of your stand mixer, you want to add 1 cup of warm water. This water needs to be just like skin temperature. If it's too hot for your hand, it's too hot for the yeast. Then we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. The sugar is going to feed the yeast. We're not going to stir this up. We're just going to sprinkle it across the top, and then we're going to let it sit. So this is really sped up, but it's just the process that your yeast is going to go through. It's just, you're going to wait for it to get foamy. It's going to be about 5 to 7 minutes, and then whenever it looks like this, it will be ready. Alright, so when our yeast is foamy, we are going to add in 4 tablespoons of oil. I use vegetable oil, you can use canola oil, you can use olive oil, whatever kind of oil you really want. And then a teaspoon and a half of salt. I use kosher salt. And then I add in 1 tablespoon of McCormick salt-free garlic and herb seasoning. You can really use any type of seasoning blend you like, but I love this one. It tastes really good in the bread. It works really well. Then we're going to add in 1 cup of flour, and we're going to put our bowl onto our mixer and add our dough hook attachment. We're going to turn our mixer onto the lowest setting, which is stir on KitchenAid, just low on another brand, but you don't want to have it going too fast. I'm going to add in another cup of flour, and I'm going to let this mix for 3 minutes. So this is nearing the end of our 3 minutes, and the dough is still just a little bit sticky. It's not really trying to climb up the hook, so I'm going to go ahead and add in another 1/2 cup of flour. Okay, so after we add in this half a cup of flour, we're going to go ahead and let this mix again, still on low, for 5 minutes. Okay, so we're just going to speed this up really quick, let this run through part of it, and then whenever it gets a little closer to being ready, I'll slow it back down so you can see exactly what it needs to look like. Okay, so this is what you want the dough to look like. It's still going to be a little bit sticky around the edges, but you can tell that it's trying to climb the dough hook, and that's what you want. It may climb it just a little bit and then kind of fall over. That's a good consistency. Like I said, a little bit sticky is okay, because that's what's going to make our bread super soft and really good. Okay, so we're going to take our bowl off our mixer and we're going to clean the hook off. It doesn't have to be perfect, but a lot of it will just kind of pull as you go. And then we're just going to bring the dough together. I know a lot of people take it and put it in a clean bowl and let it rise. I don't like doing dishes that much, so I just clean up my sides, pull it all together, and then it's good enough for me. Cover it in a piece of plastic wrap and a kitchen towel and put it in a warm spot to rise for 30 minutes. Okay, so the 30 minutes is up. I've lined my counter with plastic wrap because it's way easier to clean up. I sprinkle it with some flour, not a ton of flour, just a little bit is fine. And then we are going to dump our dough out onto our counter. Now you're just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour over the top. This is just going to help it not stick to your hands quite so much whenever you're working with it. And then you're just going to kind of gather it up and get it into a shape that you can easily cut into portions. Now, you can turn this into however big or small loaves you want. I put it into 8 loaves because my kids eat it. So it's like a perfect size for like a lunch sub. But like I said, you can do 4 big subs. You can do buns out of this. Anything works. But this is just sectioning it out, and I cut it into 8 as equal as I can portions. Alright, now I'm going to get 2 baking sheets with either a silicone liner or parchment paper, and then I'm going to take each one of these portions that I have and kind of flatten it out a little bit into a rectangle. It does not have to be perfect. If your fingers get a little sticky, just use a little bit of the flour you already have. Don't get any extra. But then you just roll it up and you're going to put it seam side down in your pan. As you're rolling up your extra pieces, you're just going to want to try to keep them the same length and size as the first one that you did. Just that helps them all bake at the same time. You're not going to have one that's not done and the rest are. So you're just going to do that with every one. I only put 4 on each pan. Just keep in mind they are going to get quite a bit bigger as they bake or as they rise and as they bake. So you want to give them plenty of space to do that. This is that super easy cleanup I was talking about. No wiping down flour off your counters. These are them all rolled up and ready. You're going to take a piece of plastic wrap and just lightly lay it across the top. We don't want it to be like wrapped around the edge of the pan or anything. Just lightly lay it on there. And you're going to let these rise for 30 minutes. And then you're going to preheat your oven to 350 at the end of the 30 minutes. So after the 30 minutes is done, you can peel the plastic wrap off of your resin rolls. Just do this carefully. If a couple little pieces stick, it's totally fine. You just kind of tap it back in place. But then we are going to put these in your oven and we are going to bake them for 20 to 25 minutes, just until they're golden brown. I like to put mine in the oven for 10 minutes and then swap the pans because my oven doesn't heat completely evenly. But if your oven does, then 2 pans at a time should be fine without moving it around. So after 20 minutes, here they are. I like to take butter and just rub them quickly down with butter and enjoy.